Okay, so Reflection versus Gutbuster, we're about to go over what some common habits are against Steve that is losing people, a lot of damage, losing people, those situations they should be winning in. So we're going to start off going to FD. This is usually a good pick against Steve because you're able to jump over the blocks if you have a more floaty character like Game & Watch in this example. To start things off, I find the up B a really weird option here, mostly because you're giving Steve back center stage. He's going to get more resources. Your big game plan when you're playing against Steve is you want to take a lead, obviously, and you want to make him use all his mats. So, like, my big key points for the Steve matchup is play at that mid range, bait out those options, and whiff punish at that specific range. So, what Game & Watch can do is, with while facing away from him, sort of jump in that right outside that back air range for Steve to throw out that back air, go in for a bear of your own, boom, you win neutral. Just very straightforward thing that's going to start leading to mix-ups. So running up point blank to Steve, putting him in shield like that, I don't think up B is the right answer. It doesn't really answer anything that Steve is looking for. If you think he's going to jump out of shield, go for Nair. Um, if you think he's going to Nair out of shield, then you can just hold shield there and react to it and up B out of shield. But obviously, this I'm sure Gutbuster wasn't thinking that much about it. It's one situation. So let's continue going. Okay, Iron already. All right, chasing down with Fair, not going to work out. Of course, he's running back. Gonna keep going. And this is the thing, like, Gutbuster is approaching at this, like, ground level right here, and he's gonna try and run up again, and it's not gonna work because Steve has all these options up close. He's gonna win these scrambles. So if we back up a bit, gets Iron, pushes in, shield, alright. I can't get it exactly where I want to. I had it perfectly here. This is where he's shielding right here. This is where I would short hop. I'd short hop, bait out the Nair, bait out the bear, or something like that. And the mix-up is to go for minecart. The mix-up's to go for minecart, but Steve doesn't have any iron here. So you're going to force Steve to either shield, back up more, or throw out an aerial. Throw out a short hop macro nair, back air, or whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. It's backward sword. It's only possible out of a rising short hop, and it's faster than bear. Uh, so yeah, this is like the range right here you can get at. So if Gutbuster's right here, he shorts hop facing away. Steve throws at that nair that you're baiting out. You confirm off of that. That's reactable at that range. You go for your own bear, boom, you got Steve in disadvantage. But that's not going to work out. Good uppy to get out of that situation. Reflection messing up his confirm. I'm not sure about the landing near either. Steve can sort of just go for an up smash, can go for an up tilt to cover that landing. Worked out here. These up Bs are a little weird, but whatever. Yeah, that's a good way to get rid of the blocks. We're going to see different attempts at getting rid of the blocks. What I would recommend is go into training mode or play against a Steven friendlies and figure out what your character does best to get rid of the blocks. Yoshi's is pretty straightforward. It's why he does pretty good. On dirt, he just does fair. It covers it all. But those big hurt boxes that cover a lot of space are going to get rid of it pretty fast. Pancake gets rid of it. Chef gets rid of it right here. That, once again, like, going for this dash grab. Steve has really good micro spacing with mine. You're not going to be able, unless you read the micro spacing on that, you're not going to be able to get anything. It's very, it's exactly what Steve wants, right? And he's going to get a punish off of this, a bit of percent. That's another thing, like, Steve's got a sword, right? The sword is not going to, you're not going to be able to punish it with an up out of shape. I'm not sure the chef is a good idea here, for a few reasons. One, Steve's in the air. Um, so the reaction to that could be just to minecart out of the corner. Steve's do this all the time. Like, if Steve is in the air, you got to be ready for the minecart. There's no reason to go for a grounded option that's going to get beat out of minecart here. And I bet he's going to minecart. Yep, minecart right there. Gets blocked by the block. That's okay. I wouldn't shield here. I would full hop back because if you shield here, Steve gets back to center stage for free. Um, and if he jumps out, then command grab. Or you jump out, you get hit. Boom, confirm, right? So that went back a bit too far. All right, so first things first, you can run right underneath this, so you can bait out options. Um, so Chef, not good here. The minecart's probably coming, and it does. You see this here, you jump back. Especially since the block is here, it's going to, block him off. But the Chef was the real mess up in this situation. Gets hit here. Okay, good bait, I guess. I mean the normal thing would to be the drift back, so the minecart's good in that situation. So I would drift back here. The minecart would be good. I'd usually get hit, so double jump's good. Not following the drift though, and this overextension is going to happen quite a bit. And this comes with just playing against Steve a lot. You start to notice like where Steve is fast and where Steve is slow, because the character's both in a lot of ways. He doesn't have a lot of end lag on things, but he's like slow in the air, slow on the ground. Um, and this situation right here, he can just jump out, double jump out. So don't hold in. Just back air here. Steve can't do anything about it, right? And the back air, it might have hit, it might have not have hit, but either way, if you just don't drift in, you can then drift back. I don't like this nair, because Steve has no reason to jump without doing anything, right? This nair, it's like Palu nair. It's an air to air. It's gonna beat out a lot of good stuff, but it's gonna be able to whiff punish. Doesn't matter though. Reflection's gonna go back to mining. Okay, here's the other thing. Um, the Chef way too late. I mean, it might be a good setup, but probably gonna be a minecart here. Nope, never mind. Just gonna get back for free. There's the other thing. I don't know why you're sitting under the block there. That's a scary situation. It worked out with the up B, but you're not getting a lot here. And really, it just comes back to Gutbuster is throwing out options that are good if Reflection approaches, and he's not approaching. So you need to do something that's going to beat him when he's dashing back. And really, it's just about gaining the stage control, holding your ground, jumping, and using your wall out options. It's the same thing that Yoshi has in this matchup. I can sort of just hit here, I can back up, I can jump. Game & Watch is a little better in these situations because he doesn't jump as high, right? He can get down, so he has the double jump mix up versus Yoshi sort of has to give up all his stage positioning when he double jumps because he jumps so high. But Game & Watch is really good at holding this ground, right? And you can see Reflection going for this minecart. He doesn't have the iron, but that's exactly what he does if you just stay grounded and shield in this situation. You want to set yourself up to threaten the range as well as hold your ground. And that's the mix-up you're trying to set up, and that's just not going on here. And here's the other thing. Reflection has shown several times in this first stock, we're still on the first stock, that he's going to double jump out of the corner or minecart. Running towards him is not going to work out. There's no reason to run towards him. You want to hold that space, and you want to cover that double jump. He could have just, he could have thrown out an up air and been completely fine. Minecart wouldn't be fast enough. He can't minecart, so once again, pay attention to that. That's why you want to get rid of those materials. It's going to force Steve to retreat more. It's going to limit his tools, all that sort of thing. And this is how you're supposed to be approaching the matchup. You want to lower his materials. You want to stay at that mid range, not overextend on anything, but threaten the ability to until you start to get a read on what the Steve's going to do. Um, and yeah, so I don't like the up B here either, cause like it's just the spacing. It's like, would you do that against a cloud that's bearing there? Probably not. It's not going to work out. Reflection spacing is really good here. And once again, catching the dare, like Gutbuster's sort of holding in here. Steve can just run away from this. And he's got the pivot grab to cover it. So like Gutbuster holds in, he could have gotten away free if he just went if he didn't drift in. But he's getting desperate. He's gotten like 2 hits out of disadvantage. So yeah, see that bear there? It's really good. Because the spacing was good. So like even if Reflection shields here, he's not going to be able to get the punish out of shield if Gutbuster is drifting back towards center stage while he's at the spacing. Yeah, messes up the jab block. That's okay. It was still a good situation, but he has to be on point with those because we're talking about Steve. So maybe it's not okay. Like it's okay because it's the first game, first stock. And that was a good situation, but you got to make the most of those, right? He could have forward smashed. He could have, I don't know. Game and Watch does what Game and Watch does in that advantage. It's not a Steve specific thing, so I don't really know. Great parry, great up B. He's got him in the corner again. I like the fair. It's going to keep Steve from trying to be aggressive coming back. The block is here, so my thought is he's probably gonna minecart. So I'm gonna turn away. I'm gonna full hop. And here you go. That the chef is not gonna work here. Boom, gets hit with minecart. That's what I'm saying. I didn't watch this game yet. This is my first time watching this game. I know exactly what the Steve's gonna do. They're gonna minecart at the corner. Do the thing that's gonna beat minecart because that's their only burst option, right? So you're gonna full hop, you're gonna face away, and you're gonna throw out bear, and it's gonna catch Steve out of the minecart. The minecart's gonna pass through you, and now you're in advantage. Steve used the resource, you got the hit, right? This is how you beat it in this situation. I don't like this dash attack. Primarily because if Reflection went back in, that's a free F smash, right? He's got diamond. He's going back to the crafting table, so I guess it's an irrelevant. The other thing you could do, you could threaten to jump on top of here and then jump back. If the wall's still there, Steve has to break the wall to get through it. That sort of thing. He already has all the materials, so he's about to get diamond. He's got 3 iron. He's got some gold. So this is the situation I call we're going to camp Steve. We're going to not approach. Okay, not necessarily. We're going to not commit against Steve until it's necessary. Because if you sit at that mid range, Steve can't catch you, right? The whole thing about not approaching Steve that's good for Steve is that he gets materials, but he already has materials, so there's no point in really doing anything that isn't pressuring right outside that burst range where he can't hit you. Once again, though, like, I'm confused about the F tilt. He's jumping back. He's going to minecart. I already see the minecart coming. Like I said, I haven't seen this game yet. So once again, the situation is it's probably roll out, or like roll towards Steve here. You're not going to get hit by minecart at this situation. I don't know if he's fast enough to jump here because he's doing the F tilt. Yep, minecart. Okay, good parry. Don't know why that didn't work out that time. I don't know how that worked. He's still holding in. Reflection should have been ready for that, but doesn't matter. He's okay. Once again, it's like you're going into that burst range when you don't need to, right? If you want to approach Steve, you got to do it in a way that you're not going to run into minecart like that. So let's go back and talk about what he could have done differently. Okay, so he's standing here at this range. I would jump, but he runs in. He had the time to avoid that, and I think Game and Watch back air might beat Fair. I'm not entirely sure about that. Steve Fair, I mean, it might outrange it. It's also a multi hit, so you can start it up and you can whiff punish when you're in the middle of it. It's a good air to air. Either way, getting hit here, he's not going to mash out. He's dead. Okay, this I think is the Twitter clip, right? So what I do here is I'm expecting minecart or I'm expecting him to jump up here. So I'd be up airing. This is not the Twitter clip. The Twitter clip was he did the dirt blocks all the way up. So I guess he did it a few times. It's just like waiting out the invincibility. Like Steve gets nothing from being in the corner other than waiting out the invincibility. So like you can take your time, be patient. You don't have to rush in and chase him down. There's no disadvantage. Like there's no disadvantage to letting Steve be off the corner here until he starts showing you that he's gonna put out anvil, start mining on it, whatever. But of course he's gonna just minecart out. Like I here's the thing. Don't run into Steve. Keep that mid-range. Know where, okay, if he minecarts, he's going to be here. And I want to punish that. Because otherwise, he's not going to be able to, like, catch you for being in that mid-range. Okay, interesting. Side B, right? Okay, so the down B is here. He's probably going to jump off bear. Okay. Smart from reflection. Just going to use the block to get back. I'm not sure what this was covering, because it doesn't... Steves are always going to be jumping off the anvil, especially when you're at that range, because they cover a jump here. The anvil's already covering here, so they just get back. Like, he's just approaching too hard. He's trying to punish things that he can't punish. Like, let's just go back to the beginning of Ultimate. It's like trying to punish... you know, Palu Fair on your shield at a shield. Like, okay, Game & Watch can do that, but not every character can do that, right? Let's go back. At that range, it's not whiff punishable, but you can cover what they're going to do after. If you run at them, they're going to do something, right? They're going to shield, which means that they have to do something out of that shield. They have to do something that's easily punishable. That's where you start getting your conditioning. That's where you start getting your reading. Watch Light play the video game. He does that with Fox all the time. He lets people sit and shield, and he's like, okay, I think you're going to start rolling here because you've been rolling the whole time. Boom, he punishes it. Easy, because Fox can cover that. But figure out what your character can do to punish people sitting in shield like that. You can threaten to tomahawk grab them. And when you start doing that, it creates mix-ups. That's how the video game works. Start doing that. And just like, he just keeps running into him. Game & Watch can't cover that. He can't cover that distance. What you gotta do is you gotta stay at that mid-range, like right where this is, and threaten that bear. And he's just not doing that. And we're gonna get a big punish here. Don't jump in. He can cover that. Like, that's just like you're putting yourself in a bad situation. Drift out here. You're here, right? Sit here. Go down, up B to ledge. Don't double jump back. Especially since even if Steve was grounded, he still has time to cover this jump. It's just not in your favor. And he gets spiked. He's still there. Good roll. Too late. You gotta jump earlier. It's because you did the down smash you weren't ready. Right? So you see the minecart. If it wasn't gold, then he has this. If it wasn't gold, then he has this. But it's gold. He's got the gold on. Once again, this is matchup knowledge. This is just playing friendlies against Steves and knowing the difference. I get caught by it too. For a while, I'm like, wow, I keep getting caught by this, but I can react to this in this situation. Oh, it's because there's a speed difference between redstone rail and not redstone rail. Okay, so whenever he has gold, I just gotta expect the redstone rail. What I do here, I jump this way. I jump towards center stage. And once again, he's drifting in. Like, this is just getting punished at a disadvantage for drifting in. Way too close. You gotta be, like, right here. It's all about the spacing. You're beating Steve in the spacing, but you're getting in his face. So he's winning you with his frame data. Okay, yeah, this was the Twitter clip. Once again, you ran into the minecart. What you could have done is seen the minecart up there. Expect that he's going to run in, because there's no reason to approach him up here. He doesn't have anything. Not until he throws anvil down. Then you can start the mix-ups. If he throws anvil down right here and starts mining it, then you full hop up here, and then you start the mix-ups. You go, okay, am I going to come at you, or am I going to fade back? And then Steve has to do something about that. Like, Steve can't react to everything you do. You know, you got to set up those mix-ups. But right here, you're not setting anything up. If you run this close, then he can just get over. He's not worried at all. He's getting back to center stage. And, like, I understand getting upset about minecart, but you're just running into it. There was no reason you should have gotten hit by minecart there. The minecart was gonna be there. You had a full second to react to that. Like, why are you throwing Chef out just up air? You're doing it too slow because you threw out Chef. He was up there. He was up here. He wasn't over here. Sorry, I'm getting upset. Like, once again, running to the corner. He's gonna minecart. Get ready for the minecart. I mean, at this point, there's really nothing more to cover. Like, just not doing the things that are gonna win. Okay, there you go. The back air. It's gonna catch the jump. Nah, you... Listen. This is where you dash attack. This is where you run after Steve and you dash attack. It's gonna cover. Steve, he can elytra anywhere here. It's a good move. Once again, you're approaching with Nair here. This is an air to air. This isn't catching Steve landing. He's just going to dash attack here. Or not, I guess. But, like, you're just choosing the wrong spacing and the wrong options. It's about being here. You want to be here when Steve is here, and you want to be facing away, because then you can punish minecart. Or you can wait for Steve to shield, land, right? You can punish all these things. You can't punish F smash on shield. Don't do it. Force the Steve to shield in this situation. Punish what they do out of shield. Right? Don't do this. Don't do this. You're not punishing it. You don't have the spacing. He was able to shield there. And once again, you're drifting in. Just drift back. Steve can't cover you if you drift back. You're not going to punish Steve mining for materials out of disadvantage. Get back to neutral. You need to get back to neutral. I know it's hard. I know he's got a really, he gets a ton from you being all the way out there, but rushing to beat him is not going to do anything. It's like you're rushing into charge shot over and over again against a Samus. You're rushing into Duck Hunt Dog Can. You're rushing into Snake C4. You're rushing into these come on. No reason to up B there early. You could just go the ledge. Okay, he has no iron. You know he has no iron. No reason to be worried about this. He has no iron. You just saw him miss the minecart. That means you can keep him from landing. He has no way to get any more materials. Why are you shielding there? That's why I'm just like... This is just all matchup inexperience. And Chris he's going for his ESPs, or sorry, ESCs. Okay, good job. Using that fair to cover it. He's back here. I would roll there. How is he supposed to cover roll? He's all the way up here. Right? I don't know. You got out of there. It's whatever. Like, Pancake Chef, it's not beating that. But yeah, that was all just. I pointed it all out. There are all the things you gotta do.